Hello everybody, welcome to Stay Inspired with Dadson Ogbor. Today on the show I want to talk about maximizing your potential, and it's important that every single one of us that is looking forward to developing ourselves or becoming relevant in some area or in one endeavor or the other, it's important that we fully maximize our potential. So the first thing I want to talk about today is that you need to develop your skills, whatever skills you have, and also be in a position where you are willing to acquire more skills. The way that you develop your skills is to consistently work on those skills that you have. Consistent practice makes you better and better. Consistent practice makes you better and better. You have to put that skill to use, and you have to also look out for more skills that you would need to acquire in order to help you maximize your potential in a way that is beneficial to you and also beneficial to everyone around you. Your skills are sharpened through repetition. What you consistently do, you get better at doing, because that consistency helps you to sharpen your skills. All right, we'll talk about some more things as we proceed. So my second point for today is seek out for usable knowledge. Seek for usable knowledge. It's important that you develop yourself. Someone said something to me a while ago that basically changed my perspective when it comes to acquiring new knowledge. It says it's important for us to realize that what we knew 2 years ago, it's possible that information has become obsolete today and it's no longer relevant. So you cannot, we find people who have gone through school who are still operating with the knowledge or the information they got whilst they were in university, but we live in a progressive world. So I'm saying a way to maximize your potential is to seek out for usable knowledge. Seek out for knowledge that would help you. How do you do it? You have to ask questions when in doubt. Look out for people who are doing exceptionally better than you are doing and ask questions. Learn from them. Humility says, I don't know, teach me. When you find someone who is serious about developing themselves, when you find someone who is serious about getting better at what they do, you find someone who is teachable, you find someone who is who has a mindset to learn, a mindset to develop themselves. All right, so it's important that you read books that would help you achieve those goals and the things that you want to be able to do. Read books that helps you fine-tune your skills or refine your skills or abilities. Attend workshops and seminars. Look out for mentors and follow these mentors. Now we find I engage a lot of entrepreneurs and also people, career people if you may, and we have people who will tell you things like, I don't have access to certain mentors that can help me. But that's not necessarily true, because in this dispensation that we are basically living in, we have the opportunity to follow mentors. We follow them on their social media handles, so we're reading from them, we're watching their videos, we're basically following them on all their social media platforms, and by so doing, that's another way that we get mentored, that we get coached, and that definitely will translate into our own enhancement in terms of developing our skills. All right, so it's important that you invest in your own personal development. A lot of people talk about what they want to do, and that's fine. But once you don't spend time or you don't invest money in books, invest money in attending workshops and listening to speakers, listening to people within your industry and outside your industry as well, who basically help you to do a lot better, then ultimately you're saying that you're not really serious about what you want to do. All right, so what you want to do or what you know would always determine your level in life. I'll take that again, that what you know would always determine your level in life. What you know would always determine your level in life. You can never advance beyond the information you have at your disposal, and this is the absolute truth. Don't let no one fool you. You will never advance beyond the information that you have at your disposal, the information that is available to you. There is a saying that someone said something once, that when you know better, you do better. When you have access to certain informations, those informations ultimately begins to help you improve on yourself and develop yourself. And the third thing that I want to talk about today is that you need to be persistent. You need to be persistent. Never give up on yourself. Never give up on the things that you want to do. You must have the ability to spring back quickly into shape, and that's what being resilient is all about. You have to be resilient enough to keep showing up, to keep doing those things that you believe in, to keep sharpening your skills, to keep developing yourself until the opportunity comes. Let me say this to you, that it's a tragedy for you to come face to face with an opportunity that you are not prepared for. I take that again. again. I said that it is a tragedy for you to come face to face with an opportunity that you are not prepared for. So you have to show up every day with the mindset of a winner. You have to show up and do those things that you have the ability to do. You'll never know when those opportunities would arise for you. So that's why it's important that you show up, that you give your best at every opportunity you have to provide service. One of the things that I do when I meet new people is I want to find out how I can be of service to them. And in doing so, the things that I have the ability to do come into play, because if I'm going to be of service to you, I'm basically going to tell you the things that I have the ability to do. And my next point is be productive and accessible. Be productive and accessible. Make up your mind to be a productive person, that wherever you find yourself, you would always provide productive services. You will develop productive products or services. People remain relevant in business. People remain relevant in life for the productivity that they bring to the table. The reason people would want to pay you a certain amount that you desire basically is because you are able to solve problems. So come with that mindset. Be productive and accessible. So let's take the word productive. Being productive means that you are providing services that actually solve specific problems. And businesses, like I said, remain in business because they have the ability to solve particular problems. So the question to you today is, what problems are you able to solve? What problems are you able to solve? When you discover a particular problem and then you discover a solution, that's one way that entrepreneurs are able to maximize their potential and also make profit. All right. So the next thing is, who knows what you do? I'm talking about being accessible. Who knows what you do? A lot of people, you have friends, you have thousands of friends on Facebook, but it's a tragedy that most of them don't even have a clue what you do. And people go on social media for various reasons. Some go to socialize, which I don't see anything wrong in, but it's important that people within your circle know what you do, because when they have opportunities, they will be able to refer those opportunities to you. So how would they refer opportunities to you if they don't know what you do? All right. So don't feel any sense of shame whatsoever to tell people what you do. Talk to them about the things that you do. All right. Keep talking to people about what you are good at. Keep talking to people about your skills. Keep talking to them about your abilities. And not only talk about those abilities, you also have to be doing things that showcase those abilities and put it up for people to see, because you never know when the opportunity will come knocking on your door or come knocking at your door. All right. So be accessible. Let people who need your services be able to find you. Now, I talk with certain entrepreneurs or small business people. I was speaking to a particular plumber, and I said to him, I said, whenever I try to call you, it's extremely difficult to get in touch with you. You're not accessible. And if I can't get across to you, then I have to look for somebody else to provide that service. So it's important that you are accessible. It's important that people can reach you, that you have a phone number that they can reach you. It's important also that you have an active social media handles that will help people be able to reach you when they need to. All right. So promote yourself on social media. Promote yourself. Promote your services. Promote your goods on social media. Now, we don't have a lot of time to delve into that, but it's important that you use Facebook, you use Instagram, Twitter. All your social media handles are supposed to be marketing tools for you to promote your skills, to promote your potentials, and that way people will begin to reach out to you if you are definitely good at what you do. Don't be discouraged if you're not so good yet for people to actually want to buy the products or services that you're offering now. Do not allow that discourage you. You need to spend time to develop yourself, and that consistency, that mindset that allows you to develop yourself on a consistent basis will set you apart from the rest. I hope you've taken something out. If you have questions for me, it's important that you write those questions at the comment box when you watch this video, and you can reach out to me. My social media handles will be on the screen. We'll just go on a short break, and then when we return, we have a phenomenal guest that will be speaking to us today. Don't go away. Stay with us. Hello everybody, welcome back. You're watching Stay Inspired with Dadson Ogbor on television Nigeria. Today we have a phenomenal guest, a coach and a mentor who would basically be talking to us about how entrepreneurs will be able to access funding for their businesses. You know, I've talked about how that you can maximize your potential and do exceptionally well when you are able to maximize your potential and develop yourself. So the question is, if I've developed myself and I have a business, how do I access funding? And those are the things that we'll be talking about today. We're in the studio today with Esesua Henrietta Adeyemi. She is a passionate entrepreneur who has an innate passion for networking and marketing, a passion that gave birth to her company, Just Act Sassy Enterprise, a business consultancy and publicity company. Her love for providing excellent childcare to children ages 3 months to 16 years old gave her the opportunity to have Run Sassy Home and after school hours for over 18 years. Presently, she runs a business publicity outfit, Just Act Sassy Enterprise. She is a Goldman Sachs 10,000 Women Scholar, a You Win Awardee, Top 50 Etisalat Easy Business Millionaire winner, Pioneer Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurship Program 1000 winner, a Cherry Blair Foundation Road to Growth Scholar. She facilitates trainings on customer service, accounting for non-accountants, communication skills, etc. All right, so she reviews business plans and concept notes. She has reviewed 7 concept notes in the second edition of the Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurship Program 2016. 5 of those concept notes were selected amongst 1,000 winners in 2016 across Pan-Africa, who won $10,000, $5,000 as grant, and the remaining $5,000 as either equity or debt financing. We are delighted to have with us on the show on Stay Inspired today, Esesua Henrietta Adeyemi. It's so good to have you on the show with us today. You're welcome. Now, one of the things that I ask before we say anything on this show, I usually will ask people, this show is about staying inspired and basically, so I'm just going to throw that question to you right now. So how do you stay inspired? I've talked about a lot of things that you are basically involved in, and I'll give you the time to also talk to us about some of those things as well. But how do you stay inspired?
Okay, I'm a very spiritual person.
Okay.
I do not apologize for being spiritual.
Absolutely.
And so as a spiritual being, my creator has actually commanded me to always excel.
Okay.
And so even at times when I feel down or I feel bad, I just always remember that I was created to, be the head and never the tail. And I think that's just one thing that just keeps me inspired.
Absolutely, that's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. So talk to us a little bit about some of the things. There's Tony Elumelu funds that you've been able to access, and also assisted all other people to access that. And there's so many businesses that you're involved in. So just talk to us about how your entrepreneurial journey has been so far.
Oh, my entrepreneurial journey has been very exciting.
Okay.
I became an entrepreneur not because I wanted to become an entrepreneur,
Okay.
but it was because I wanted to stay with my children.
Okay.
So I have 3 children, and
Wow.
I always wanted to work on Wall Street.
Okay.
And so to be able to work on Wall Street meant I had to be in the finance world.
Okay.
And so when I got married, the first time I held my first son, I just realized that there was no way I was going to go away from him, and I was going to have to be with him. And so there was no job that would give me the opportunity to be with him and at the same time, go to work. And so it was out of necessity that I actually stumbled into being an entrepreneur.
Okay.
And so because I love children and because I was so in love with my son, that was how we started Stacey's Home and After School Hours.
Oh, okay.
And so for over 16 years, we ran that, taking care of children. Things, I found the opportunities that people were lacking in. Mothers who wanted to be me, and now they don't have a proper place to put their children.
Okay.
So I now proffered the solution to now create that environment for them to keep their children with me while they pursued their own.
Okay, so when you say to keep the children with you, is it like holiday programs you run, or it's a proper structured school?
When we started the business, we started with an after school that evolved to a creche, and from the creche it evolved into a nursery school.
Okay.
So you were talking about whether we're going into primary, and so I was saying for now, we actually had to close that arm of our business. So those are the challenges sometimes that come up with entrepreneurship.
Okay, so basically you were talking about some of the things that you do with your creche, and I wanted to know if you have any intentions of going into primary school and taking it further.
For now, no. Reason being that as an entrepreneur, there are certain challenges that would, come your way. And one of the challenges that I had to face was losing my husband in 2016.
Oh, wow.
And so when that happened, we had to close that arm of the business.
Okay.
When I work with children, I'm very empathetic, and I always want to be their mother away from, home. And so because of that, I wasn't in the right frame of mind to have been able to run that kind of a business again.
Okay.
And so for about, in 2018 now, I had to just take some time off that to grieve,
Okay.
and so we had to close that arm of the business.
Wow.
But we have another arm of childcare business that actually now doesn't allow the kids come to us.
Okay.
We go to the children.
Okay.
And so that's Stacey's Creative Corners.
Okay.
And basically what we do is that we have mobile creches.
Okay.
If it's not a
When you
mobile
say
creche,
mobile crash, what are you talking about?
we're moving the creche now to the event. So if it's a birthday party,
Okay.
for instance, someone's having a 50th birthday party, for instance, and they don't have people to take care of the kids while they're at the party. We would set up a kiddies corner,
Okay.
and so we would engage the kids while their parents are having their own party.
Okay.
If it's a conference, we would have a kiddies corner while the parents are at the conference.
Okay.
And sometimes if it's even a child's own birthday party, we tend to now create, our own form of entertainment, different from the dancing.
Oh,
so
wow.
we could have things like reading, arts and
Okay.
crafts, and
Okay.
so that's how we've been able to be innovative. So yes, that arm of business is closed, but yet another arm has evolved.
Okay.
As time goes on, if I know myself very well, I know I will go back to taking care of kids.
No, that's truly phenomenal. That's really phenomenal. I like the fact that you've been able to develop an innovative business idea, I must say, and also that you had to go through a particular crisis in your life at a time. And these are things that we don't hear a lot. A lot of entrepreneurs, especially in Nigeria and Africa, do not really share their stories. So I think it's very phenomenal that you were so open to share your story with us, to talk about a particular event that happened in your life that basically made you shut down your business for a season, and you've been able to go through that, and I think that's truly phenomenal that you're
thank
able
you.
to do that. Thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
sharing your story with us. Now I search the internet for African stories or Nigerian stories of entrepreneurs who have gone through a series of hard times, have been able to still, in spite of those things that they've been through, are doing exceptionally well in their businesses, or have been able to fail consistently and have succeeded in one area or the other, and but they share their stories. So I'm thinking that it's time for us to be in a position to share a lot of our stories.
I don't know why let's use Nigeria, because at least I have more knowledge of Nigerian entrepreneurs.
Okay.
We're more of the positive,
Okay.
and
Okay.
we tend to forget that sometimes the negative brings about the positive.
Exactly.
And so you tend to see people only talking about their successes and never talking about their challenges.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if you've noticed that the depression level in Nigeria is getting really, really high right
Exactly.
now, and that's because we've been brought up to always talk about positives, positive rather than talking about the negatives. Now, for someone like me, I was brought up to talk about when it's not nice, when it's not
Okay.
happening, when things are not working the way you would have wanted them to work. And I found out that in doing that, I've been able to help other women who've lost their
Oh,
own
wow.
husbands as
Wow.
well.
Wow.
Because you see people will say, okay, you know what, look at Esesua. See what she went through and
Okay.
see who she is today. And she's willing to talk about it. So if you go and meet her, then she'll be able to tell you certain things
Okay.
that, you don't have to go through. You know how they always say that you don't really have to experience everything. You can learn from somebody else's own experience. So just like you're saying, I think it's about time that Nigerian entrepreneurs in particular talk about, their challenges, talk about moments when it wasn't going on well for them, when
Exactly.
they failed, and when what they did to now move from that point of failure
Yeah.
to now the point of where they've now succeeded.
Okay, I think it's incredible that you are able to take a negative situation that happened to you and be able to also create some value that you offer to other women who are experiencing the same thing as well. And definitely like to commend you for that.
Thank
And
you.
entrepreneurs only focus on things that generally generate money to them. But I think that value is beyond money, that you're able to take from your own personal experience and offer that sort of value to other women is something that is commendable. All right, so let's move forward as we we proceed further into the show. Now, I was talking about maximizing your potential and being able to develop your skills as an entrepreneur or as a career person. Now, you may have, or we may have entrepreneurs who are listening to us talk now, and they would say that, well, I've been working on my skills, I've been developing myself, but I have a business idea, and but I don't have the money to power that idea. And basically, I'd like to throw this to you because I see, obviously, this is something that, seeing that you've benefited from a lot of grants and things. So I'd like you to talk about that, like how can entrepreneurs be able to access funding for their businesses or ideas?
Okay, so when I talk about raising finance, I love to use my own story.
Okay.
So that it's practical for people to get to understand. When we're going to start the after school program, we actually had to start with monies from family and friends.
Okay.
Now that's one part of finance that people tend to forget.
Okay.
So people are always looking for loans.
Okay.
But you see, I tell people one thing, before you're able to approach somebody to even help you, you actually have to have a business idea.
Okay.
Most entrepreneurs don't even have a business plan.
Wow.
And that is something that is very essential that every entrepreneur must have
a business plan.
plan.
All right, just hold that thought. Let's go on a quick break, and then when we return, we'll take it from the fact that entrepreneurs need to have a business plan. All right. Hello, welcome back, everybody. You're watching Stay Inspired with Dadson Ogbor on television Nigeria. I'm still in the studio with Esesua, Henrietta, Adeyemi, and she's been sharing some phenomenal thoughts with us. So you were talking about how that entrepreneurs need to have business plans that they need to develop before you even start talking to anybody about funding your business. Can you? Okay,
now, so for instance, I was telling you that it's the first form of finance people should actually look forward to is from family and friends.
Okay.
If you don't have your own personal savings.
Okay. So what about somebody who would say, well, you don't know my family or you don't even know my friends. I don't have family or friends that are willing to drop a dime, because we should not assume that there are no people within that particular circle.
Most times why people will not drop a dime is because the person has not been able to articulate their business idea into paper.
Okay.
There's any business idea that, just like you said earlier on, that can give value. People are always willing to want to invest in it.
And to be a part of it.
And to be a part of it. And even if they're not investing because they want to get equity in the business, they just want to see, Nigerians, that's one thing I think I'm still proud of us. We still have a lot of people who always want to help.
Okay.
Even if they know you or they don't know you. But once they can actually see that, what he's talking about makes sense. There's value. Now, yes, you might not have your business plan written down. But you can actually have your business plan structured. That so when I'm having a conversation with you, your business plan is up in your head. And so when I'm asking you questions, so for instance, I'm asking you that, okay, Dadson, who's your target market?
Okay.
You should be able to tell me that, okay, you know what, I'm making akara now. And the akara I want to start producing now is for the people by the site. Okay, where is the site? Okay, people that are maybe areas where they're building. You can tell that, okay, this woman, she has an idea of what she wants to do. I want to make akara for workers. But a lot of people just have the ideas, but don't have it, structured. I always advise business owners, put your business idea on paper. But I know a lot of people have problems putting it down on paper. But at least go online, just like you said, learn, try and understand what does it take. And it doesn't really take anything to actually even have a business plan. It doesn't take anything. So for people to raise finance, like I said, first of all, start with family and friends.
Okay.
Over the years, and with all the grants we've won and with all the trainings we've gone for, people keep on saying banks do not help SMEs. Now, banks cannot help SMEs because startups in particular, you can never pay back capital. And so that's one thing people fail to understand. Your capital, if you check a financial statement of any organization, you would always see capital there. So that shows you that that capital is never paid back. And if you can't pay back capital, how do you now want to pay back the bank for the money you're borrowing from the bank? to start your business. I'll give you an example now. We want to start selling, let's say, the laptop, for instance. And I go to the bank and I say, okay, give me 500,000 to start a laptop selling business. So they give us the 500,000. We buy the laptops. When we buy the laptops, we decide to say, okay, you know what, we're going to sell them at a particular amount. Remember, we have to still pay back that 500,000. We have to still pay back the interest on top of the 500,000. At the end of the day, you would find out that by the time we finish paying back the loan, we might not have enough money to buy new laptops for the next. So you can see that it is very difficult to actually pay back capital. And that's why we advise people to, you know what, start with family and friends. People should learn to start to save.
Okay.
One very cheap way of raising finance is when you have this Esesua, where you have a group of friends.
Okay.
The market people do it a lot. So what they do is that every day there's a particular amount of money that maybe they know that at the end of the week will give them monies to buy new stock.
Okay.
So they put the money, and at the end of the week. But you see, a lot of SMEs, we think big and we don't start small.
Okay.
And so that's where we get ourselves into trouble.
Okay.
For even the business grants, you have to have a business viable concept note.
Okay.
Or a business plan. Because what happens is that most of them are competitions. And so you find out that there's certain marks for certain things. I'll give you an instance now. What a concept note can ask you to describe your business or to describe your product. And so what a lot of entrepreneurs do is that they describe the features rather than the benefits.
Oh.
And so there are marks for benefits and not features. I'll give you an example. I would use a laptop because that's what's in front of us. So you say, okay, you know what, Dadson, describe the benefit of the laptop.
This laptop.
The first thing someone might want to now start telling you is that, oh, okay, yeah, it's slim, it's silver, those are features. But if you say something that you know what, by the time you reboot your laptop, it takes less than maybe 1 second for it to come up. You can, for someone like me now, I love to have all my up to 20 tabs open. And so if you tell me that, you know what, with Dadson's laptop, I can have my 20 tabs open and my laptop will still work as fast as it should. Those are benefits.
In other words, what you're saying is that entrepreneurs, when applying or making those applications, must focus on the benefits of their service or the product
rather
offers.
than the features.
Okay.
And so something like that now has a mark. But then the entrepreneur feels that I filled the form properly and they don't get that mark. And the next thing they now tell you that, it's because I don't know anybody there. All the grants we won, we did not know anybody.
Oh, wow.
But because, just like you said, there were businesses that were creative, there were businesses that were innovative. And that's another thing people need to also learn, that you can have 200 akara sellers, but you'll be amazed that one person still stands out because of their unique selling proposition.
Okay, let's talk about this unique selling proposition. Like, what would you suggest to someone now? In simple man's terms, I believe that innovation is basically looking for better ways of doing something. And then, what tips would you give to a person who has, let's use Tony Elumelu entrepreneurship grants, for example. Now you have thousands of farmers. We use a farmer as an example. Like, you want to go into production of egg production, and then there are thousands of farmers who are also applying for the same kind of business idea. So how would you make yourself different? How would you make yourself unique in that particular?
Okay, so for instance, now let's use eggs, like you've said. Now your packaging, number one.
Okay.
But you have to remember that yes, if you're making your packaging different from competitor A, your price still.
What I mean is, how do you sell that in your concept note in making those applications?
Those are the things. Your packaging, because the in the concept notes, they're usually different questions that are asked.
Okay.
So for instance, like you said, they will ask you, how do you differentiate yourself from other customers?
Oh, wow.
And so I can decide to say, okay, my packaging. Now, what is it about my packaging? I can decide to say, okay, you know what, my packaging is done in such a way that it becomes a storage package for you after you're done with my eggs.
Interesting.
You understand? So that has given you a mark different from the other egg person. The other egg person is just saying, you know what, I'm delivering eggs to you and hasn't thought about that. Someone can decide to say, okay, you know what, the eggs I sell, because of the kind of feed I give my birds, there's a certain kind of vitamin that is different from the other types of vitamin.
Wow.
But it's the same eggs we're selling. Someone can decide to say, okay, you know what, we deliver eggs to your doorstep and no extra charge.
Wow.
So it's just how we're able to, you know, like you just said, sit down, think, what is every other person doing? What do I have that is different from what they're doing, but will not add too much of a cost. Because sometimes if your price is different from very high compared to the next person, you might lose customers. But again, remember, there are products that are hybrid. So, for instance, now the luxurious cars, you can't come and tell me that because I want to drive a luxury car, the same amount you will pay for a car that is not luxury, the two different amounts.
Of course.
But the people producing the luxury cars can produce in 1 year maybe 20, but the amount of money they've earned is more than the person who's produced like 1,000. So it depends on. Remember when we started, I said your target market.
Exactly.
So if my target market HNIs, who I know, like class, then there's nothing wrong in me actually changing my packaging and giving them that class. Say, oh, you know what? Okay, I'm cutting Stacey's eggs. Oh, this is beautiful, and I'm going to pay 500 naira extra because I love the packaging. If I can't, I can decide to say I want to make my packaging diamond encrusted. You understand?
Yeah.
But because I know I have a target market that would want to buy my diamond encrusted air crate, fine, I can go ahead with that.
Wow, that makes sense. So let me just unpack what you have talked about now. Like you said, for an entrepreneur who wants to access funding, it's better to start with friends and family.
Yes.
Also, it's important that you have a business plan in place.
In place.
And you also talked about the fact that you have to also develop a concept note, which basically helps you sell what you do and focus on selling benefits.
Rather than features.
That makes a lot of sense. I hope people who are watching us will definitely benefit from this. If you're serious about accessing funding for your business, this is definitely something that you want to be able to do. All right, so let's move on and talk about women in entrepreneurship. Now, you're a woman who has gone through different phases in your entrepreneurial journey, and then there's so many other women who probably are stay-home moms, but somehow within them they feel that even though they would like to still be home with their kids, but there are other things they're able to do. Can you talk about that a bit?
Okay, like I've explained to you, I really love using myself as an example, so that people don't say, "Oh, she's just there talking to Dadson and she's just saying things, textbook things."
Yeah.
When I started talking to you, I remember telling you that I did not start out as an entrepreneur.
Okay.
I told you I wanted to be on Wall Street.
Yeah.
But I used the opportunities that were around me, and I found that I couldn't go to work because I wanted to be with my children. And so when I saw that need was what made me now start the creche.
Okay.
You have some women who have the same, a lot of Nigerian women actually have that challenge of, being able to leave the kids and, chase their careers. And what I always tell my friends is, I always ask, the first question I would always ask is, what are you passionate about? And so sometimes you see that there are women who are passionate about fashion. A lot of women in Nigeria, one of the gifts you get as a woman when you're getting married is a sewing machine. You will find out that there's so many women now, as we're talking to you, that have sewing machines in their homes.
Locked up somewhere.
You understand? And they are telling you, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? When you started the show, you talked about potentials. You talked about people training themselves. You talked about... So imagine a woman who has a sewing machine. You'd be surprised she might even have two. There's nothing wrong in her going back to school. She might not go to a structured school. She can decide to just go to another tailor and sit down and say, okay, you know what, I want to learn for 3 months. I want to learn for 4 months what it will take for me to be a tailor. She might not even be the one sewing the clothes. She can get her own 2 tailors who would use her sewing machines. But the only reason why she's going to learn is so that she's able to cut her costs. She's able to run her business properly. Now, if you looked at what we just discussed now, Dadson, there was no need to have actually borrowed any money to start up that tailoring.
Wow.
Because she's used the gifts that she got from her wedding to start the business.
Okay.
Sometimes you really might not be passionate about something, but you have the business acumen to make that business come together. I'll give you an instance. So people don't like to market. I love marketing. I love networking. I love to talk. And so what I have decided to do is set up Just Ask Stacey. And what do we do at Just Ask Stacey? Because we know there are businesses that don't like to sell themselves, but we love to sell good products. So we sell the products for you. And that's an arm of business that I'm doing. I don't have to be a manufacturer, but I have looked at my strengths and I've seen that, my strength is a weakness to other people. I feel women should sit down and actually do a SWOT analysis and look at what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses. And once they're able to see what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are, what their threats are, what opportunities exist, then they'll be able to say, okay, you know what, my strength is I love to talk.
Yeah.
And because I can talk, it's another woman's weakness not to be able to talk.
Okay.
So why don't I set up a business where I go and talk for people? And at the same time, remember, she's working from home. When I was, I've always run my business raising my children.
Okay.
Now my kids are entrepreneurial inclined because they follow me. When we started the Creative Corner, we used to go to so many fairs, and I used to go with them. That's, and I can tell you now that my children can actually set up Creative Corners on their own.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So if, for instance, now I have 2 events or 3 events coming on a Saturday, my daughter can actually stay at one event and she knows what to do. Yes, and my son can do the same thing. I think a lot of women, we tend to make a lot of excuses. We tend to give a lot of excuses. There's nothing wrong in someone selling moi from
home.
You understand? From home, or cooking her jollof rice from home. Or the only thing is that she just has to remember that, okay, there are different costs. There's a cost that the house incurs, and there's a cost that she incurs because she's using, the house. So she doesn't run into problems in the future when she now decides to move out from the house in terms of what her pricing.
Oh, excellent, excellent. So definitely women should definitely focus on what their passion is.
Yes.
And begin to do those things that come to them naturally.
Naturally.
All right, unfortunately we don't have a lot of time on this show. There's so much that we can talk about. What you would have to have you come back on this show.
I would be delighted to come back.
Thank you so much. So on a final note, what are those tips in terms of like advice you will give to someone who's starting up, maybe someone who is struggling? They've already started, they're doing their business, but they're struggling and just basically trying to maintain themselves in their businesses.
Okay, so for people that are about to start,
Yes.
First thing, look at the skills you have, skill sets you have. The ones you don't have, try and improve on them or try and learn.
Okay.
Start with very cheap capital.
Okay. When you say very cheap capital,
Like we said, family and friends.
And friends. Okay.
Even if you're going to borrow from somebody interest free. And make sure that the timeline when you're going to pay is long enough for you to have been able to make at least, even if it's not profit, but at least be able to get the money back and get something on top to be able to buy your new stock or to be able to produce your new stock. I will always emphasize on this: have a business plan. If you can't go in depth in doing the business plan, there are people who actually do business plans.
Okay.
Or you try, there's one I love, which is the business model canvas.
Okay.
That is kind of like a simplified way of getting your business plan done, because everything in your business plan is just kind of like written out there in the 7 key things that you have to do.
Okay.
For startups, start small, but think big.
Okay.
Now, for businesses that are already existing, there are times when you would have challenges.
Of course.
Like I had my own, kind of challenges. Look for mentors. Look for people that would inspire you. Like I said, for me, I always tell anybody who comes close to me that my greatest inspiration comes from, God, because I'm a very spiritual person. And so I tell people that I think it's always nice for you to be in line with the spiritual, as in with your God. Because when all hell, lets loose and all of that, you still have to be able to talk to yourself. There's no one who can talk to you more than you can actually talk to yourself.
Exactly.
To get out of whatever situation you find yourself. But I always leave this word of advice with people: start small. Okay. Think big.
Big. Oh wow! Thank you so much, Esesua. Thank you so much for
coming
on the show. So many things I've basically learned from just having this conversation with you. All right, thank you so much for coming too.
My pleasure.
Okay, that's our show for today. We've been talking to Esesua Henrietta Adeyemi, and then she has basically shared from her own personal experiences, and it's been just a phenomenal experience, engaging in this discussion with her. If you have questions for my guest, I'd like you to drop those questions as you're watching this video. Drop those questions in the comment box if you watch on any of our social media handles. My social media handles are on the screen. You can also connect and ask questions, and definitely would pass those questions across to my guests and get in touch with you. If you are an entrepreneur, a young entrepreneur, or an already existing business, and you'd like to be on the show to showcase your business or services or products, you want to get in touch with me. My social media handles are on the screen. So we've been talking about, today we talked about maximizing your potential. Ensure that whatever you do, you are out there maximizing your potential and adding value on a consistent basis. And just like my guests talked about today, it's important that if you're starting out in your business, that you start small, but you think big. Whatever you do, ensure that you stay inspired. See you again next week. Bye-bye.